I wanted to do something different today, and here's something different. So, Letterkenny Season 8 is out. If you haven't watched it, watch it. If you don't watch Letterkenny, I want to explain it this way. I don't look at seasons as overarching plot lines where a character starts in one area and they end up in another. It's just sort of a theme. To me, it feels like Jared Kiso sits down and goes, all right, here's the theme for this season. Here's what we're going to do. And then they go with it. Now, it's usually 6 episodes, and then they have a specialty episode in between seasons. This year, season 8, they did 7 episodes. So, probably means we're done with the holiday episodes for now. You never know. The cast rotates regularly, and so when you go, oh, this character wasn't even in this season, odds are that actor or actress wasn't available. And that seems to be part of it as well, that this is a good jumping off point for some pretty decent actors and actresses to try something different, and then they go on to bigger and better things, which I'm sure these guys are very happy with them for. And so I wanted to talk about it throughout, because people will talk about, well, this season wasn't very good compared to that season. It's just kind of themes. So season 1, the theme, basically, it starts out with Katie's dating Riley and Jonesy. And you get the feeling right off the bat that Katie's too smart to be dating Riley and Jonesy. The Skids are just being the Skids, and Stewart is the leader of the Skids. And I tried to keep this really basic. I did. Wayne, the toughest in Letterkenny, is your theme throughout the season, where he's returned to town and he's got to prove he's still the toughest in Letterkenny. And what I like is you're introduced to guys who will be recurring characters from then on. It's not just him beating guys up and then they're gone. Some of them, they don't come back, but some of them did. And you get the feeling that while they were writing this show and while they were putting the episodes together, like, we like this actor or this actress and we're going to bring him back. And it's made for a really, really good show. Season 2, Riley and Jonesy end up joining the senior team. Now, this is after Katie's broken off with them. And Katie's got that weird thing with the boyfriends from the city. I don't remember if that was season 2 or 3. It doesn't really matter. It's not really a major theme. There are some seasons where characters go through this odd arc that doesn't really go anywhere, but it's just to keep them on the show kind of thing. And my favorite thing about joining the senior team, Boomtown. Boomtown is one of the greatest characters. I would love to watch some kind of a spin-off where you have the hockey players, whether it's Fiske, Boomtown, doesn't matter. And the funny thing is, the guy who played Fiske on here, he's in a new Canadian TV show called Nurses. And as soon as I saw him, I went, Fiske. And it's like, I can't watch that show now because I'll wait for somebody to throw to him. And when he's a normal, everyday person, it's going to be disappointing to me. Sort of like the actress that plays Gail. It's the only show she plays something weird. So if I see her in something else, I'm like, but that's Gaylor. What's Gaylor doing here, and why isn't she doing the gyrating and the thrusting? That's what she does all the time. That's just how she is at rest. So it's really off-putting. Wayne was seeking the new girlfriend. Angie had broken up with him, and of course that plays out through season 1 and into season 2 that he's still upset about Angie. And then they have one of the best episodes is the native flu episode, where the hockey players don't want to go to the reserve because they know they're going to get beat up by the natives. And it really brings Tanis into perspective. Tanis is absolutely, for me, she's my favorite character on the show. She really is. She's my favorite character on the show. I think she's one of the more complicated characters on the show. And this is not a show of complicated characters, but you also get the feeling if she wanted to kick your ass, she definitely could. And then after season 2, we have the St. Patrick's Day episode. So this was the first time that they did a specialty episode, and it's great. The St. Patrick's Day episode is fantastic. So if you want to watch an episode where it doesn't really have anything to do with the rest of the seasons, you just want to dip your toe in and see how the show is, I would highly recommend any of the holiday themed episodes, because they don't have anything to do with it. Does help to know the characters on the show before you watch the holiday themed episodes, but you don't really have to, I guess. Season 3, we get into the D-Gens from Upcountry, and you get into some of the most wonderful McMurray Wayne interactions ever, where they're talking about how to attract the D-Gens when they're going after the sled shack, and they're in the sled shack, and there's talk about how to get them there. And it is absolutely hilarious. And that's where that's right, that's where the city boyfriends that Katie brought home come into it. It's bizarre. And they meet the French Canadian Hicks. To this day, I'm not a huge Celine Dion fan. That's not going to surprise people. But if I see Celine Dion and I'm like, oh, it's a Celine Dion song, then Yvonne will say, you're saying her name in a disrespectful tone. So we remember the French Canadian Hicks and that whole exchange with the Celine Dion. And oh my God, it's just great. Because one side's yelling in English, one side's yelling in French. And they don't understand what the other side's saying exactly, but they're pretty sure they don't like it, which is how fights occur between two different languages. Then there's the episode where Dan and Daryl battled for Bonnie, and neither of them won. Bonnie just wants Wayne. That's the whole thing here. Bonnie wants Wayne. She's not going to get Wayne. I get the feeling that Wayne views her as being a good kid. Wayne likes Bonnie a lot, but he doesn't have any romantic feelings for Bonnie at all. He's the only person in town that doesn't. And even Katie at some point, you get the feeling. Anyways, Katie in that episode was trying to get Bonnie's affections as well. I noticed this season, I'm not going to get to it in season 8, I noticed this season that Katie and Bonnie are built virtually identical. They were wearing the same outfits for one episode, and I was like, they look almost identical. It's really, really close. They could have passed for sisters if they wanted to cast them that way. And then at the end of season 3, Bradley's a great guy. They love Bradley until they get drunk and Bradley has to try to throw them out and the fight starts. So then the fight that occurs ends a relationship Wayne's been in with Rosie, Gail's cousin. So we have the Halloween episode in between this season and this season. And this is why I say the holiday episodes don't really affect the rest of the show, because nothing in the Halloween episode has anything to do with Bradley, and this episode kind of picks up after here. Rosie leaves, and she doesn't dump Wayne because he fought with Bradley, but it definitely doesn't help. So she leaves town, and they have a very amicable parting, which is nice. And then there's the Canada Gooses episode, which is just, oh my God, it's so funny. The McMurrays are just absolutely fantastic in that whole episode. And it's just great. I can't describe it better than just say the Canada Gooses. I know they're Canadian geese, but they call them Canada Gooses through the whole thing. So I may still call them Canada Gooses when I see them outside. And it's great. And then they have the senior team that can't get a win. So they bring in Tyson and Joint Boy, and they decide to have fights instead, which works out pretty well for them. And of course, Shorzy as well. Shorzy's, well, to quote the coach, he's a beauty. So season 4 ends that way, and then they have the Easter episode, which again has nothing to do with season 4 or season 5. Season 5, Wayne and Tanis are kind of thrown together. I liked Wayne and Tanis together. I understood why they didn't stay together. The actress that plays Tanis, her potential is boundless. She has a tremendous acting career ahead of her. And so the Wayne and Tanis thing, even if it worked from a character standpoint, which it kind of sort of did, so that doesn't go on for long, but it's really entertaining along the way. Riley and Jonesy were coaching the women. Some of the absolute funniest stuff ever between Betty Ann and Marianne. I absolutely loved that stuff. That stuff was absolutely great. They also had the Spelling Bee in that season. The Spelling Bee episode is amazing because they're pretty sure that when Katie lost that they cheated to beat her. And the start of the episode where they're talking about it and Wayne rips his shirt open while he's remembering that she misspelled. I don't know how anybody on the set kept a straight face. I don't know how anybody kept a straight face through any of that scene, because it's really amazing. And there's a lot of scenes in this show where I'm not sure how anybody keeps a straight face. And then Anik and Daryl get matched up, and you just know that's not going to work. Daryl's far too insecure. Daryl's far too Daryl to hold on to her. So we go into season 6 after the Christmas episode. I laughed so hard all the way through that episode. And just Wayne giving out gifts. It's just Wayne giving out gifts and people reacting to the gifts he gives them. And you get into Coach and the fact that his wife's passed away and the coach's wife having passed away. Mark Forward is genuinely a really funny man to start with. He is a very funny comedian. And I get the feeling that with the Barb talk of his wife passing away, I get the feeling they don't give him a script. They just say, here and go. And I think his goal is much like Glenn's goal, which is try to make Wayne crack up. Try to make him break character. So you have the Christmas episode, then we go into season 6. Wayne has his French girlfriend, which I never really liked. And that's the weird thing. This is where you get into stuff where I'm like, I thought Mary Fred was too close to Wayne's personality. I don't know, I didn't like it. I wasn't a big fan. And then they bring in Noah and Anita Dick, which is absolutely totally farcical. And if you're going to bring in Jonathan Torrens, I approve of this. Jonathan Torrens is genuinely a really funny guy to start with. He, of course, was, know what I'm saying, over on Trailer Park Boys. Yeah, J-Rock. So, J-Rock now, he's Mennonite, and they go so far overboard with the whole thing. And I know it puts some people off. Some people look at that and they go, this is just silly and it's ridiculous. Yeah, it's Letterkenny. Letterkenny started out as ridiculous. The whole thing started out as shorts online where they just made fun of hockey players. And it's meant to be kind of ridiculous. You're not supposed to take it really serious. And then, of course, season 6 ends with the You episode. I'm not yelping, but it's more of a yelp with the You, where you find out that Anik, Daryl's girlfriend, is posing sexy half naked online, which the actress who plays that role, she does do lingerie photographs. So it turns out she's cheating, and Daryl's kind of like, not too sure if he wants to break it off, but once they cheat, it's over. That's a theme on this show as well. So before we get into season 7, they did the Valentine's Day episode, which again, I got the feeling a lot of this stuff wasn't scripted. A lot of it was just, all right, boys, we're going to sit y'all at the table. You guys can say whatever you want, and we're going to film it, and action. And just hilarity ensued. Absolutely great. They started season 7 off with Crack an Egg, which was a call-in show. And I know there's people who didn't like the start of that season and thought that it wasn't great at the start. You know what? Them sitting in the studio and just talking on the phone to people. Is that really him? Really? Hey, what's up? What's going on? So your brother, huh? And just that's that conversation. I thought this is the most Canadian thing ever. And then when you get into the screaming and yelling they were doing at one of the callers, and McMurray trying to have his own show after, and everybody calling in just to tell him how much he sucks and how they don't understand how he's got a wife that's so hot. And understanding that his wife's not even in that season because she's Winona Earp. She's got her own show now. So she comes back for season 8, but she's not even in season 7. And I thought it was really, really funny because, yeah, you can kind of understand that. She's Winona Earp. She's this up-and-coming actress, and he's McMurray. So, yeah, it makes sense, and I thought it was really funny. They also had Wayne with the red card. I thought that was creative. I actually thought, you know what, that would be kind of an interesting thing to do. While you're having a conversation with somebody, you pull out a yellow card. Like, this conversation's coming to an end because I don't like this. And then when they do it again, then you just red card, this conversation's over. I thought that was really creative. And then the hockey team is all brought back together by Tanis, of all people, with the idea that she wants to bring back the Irish. And then you find out at the end of that season where Daryl's going back to try to get Anik back because he's crazy, that Wayne's girlfriend is cheating as well. So Mary Fred, who I was never a big fan of, is kind of on her way out, which is good because they've been teasing that they're going to bring back Rosie, who's the girlfriend that he'd had before, Gail's cousin. So I liked Rosie a lot better than Mary Fred. So I was like, Wayne's not going to cheat on the French girl. How are they going to do this? And then it turns out that he doesn't have to worry about it. Any time in this show over any season where you go, looks like Wayne's got some chemistry with a new girl here. This could be bad. Don't worry. The other one's going to break up with him or something's going to happen. She'll cheat first. So it's just the way it works. So then we go into season 8, and Wayne is mourning the loss of the girlfriend that was cheating on him. And some of that's kind of clunky. The show that he's watching or supposed to be watching, that's really kind of clunky and weird. And Stuart's working out now. So that's kind of odd too. But at some point, you got to acknowledge that the actor who plays Stuart, the guy's ripped. So at some point, you got to. It's sort of like Carlton on Fresh Prince. How as the show went along, he's getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and Will Smith's not. So at some point, you have to acknowledge, I have a funny feeling Alfonso would take him in a fight. You got to acknowledge he's getting kind of built. So I got that feeling with Stewart that they went, man, we can't really pretend he's just a skid. Let's give him something else. And they teach him how to fight. The idea is got to go fight this drug dealer in the city. And it's kind of silly. And Tyson and Joint Boy are training him, and it's the whole world thing. We'll get into that, though. And then the Ferda Club. So as a result of their team winning a tournament, which brought in the TSN people, which was also kind of awkward. I'm going to be honest, kind of awkward. Although the Jeff O'Neill scene where he's getting picked on by Drager and McKenzie was absolutely brilliant. I thought that was fantastically done. But Riley and Jonesy end up being picked as winners of this energy drink contest, and they have to start a nightclub, so they're starting a Ferda Club, which is just for the boys. No women allowed, it's just for the boys. And everybody has the same reaction of, so there's not going to be any women there. So why would I want to go? It's just for the boys. So it's gay? No. So I thought it was really, really funny. And they get into a really good conversation where it's like, well, can you call it gay? And, well, yes, because it's just for men. And normally if a club is just for men, you go, oh, so it's a gay club then. So I thought that was really well put together. I thought that was really funny. And then they had Katie dating Dirks, which I thought was, I know it's Dirks, but it becomes Dirks as the season goes along. I didn't like him, and I thought Katie was smarter than this. This is part of my problem. Katie is the smartest person on the show for most of these seasons, and then this year she gets a boyfriend and her brain just flies right out of her head, it seems. Because, yeah, it's pretty obvious he's a player, and she kind of calls him on it, and then she backs off. So he's like, oh, no, I'm in this. All right, cool. And I thought, really? Because pretty sure she would have seen through this and seen that he was going to run around on her. And then, of course, it closes off on a cliffhanger. So if you've never watched the show, I didn't really wreck it completely. I really didn't. There's a lot of stuff I'm leaving out. And if you're a watcher of the show, you're like, man, Shannon, you're leaving out all kinds of details. Right, because I want people to watch the show. So one of the overarching themes early on is the ostrich. The conversations about the ostrich are some of the funniest conversations ever, allegedly. And I honestly, as the conversation, as the debate evolved, as episodes went along, where they evolved this storyline that started as really, how far are they going to go with this? Oh, okay, all right. Was it a sick ostrich? Was there just the ginger? What else happened? It's so funny. Roald is one of the funniest characters ever on TV. Evan Stern, is naturally really, really funny, and I get the feeling that there's a lot of times where he does his thing and probably cracks up everybody on the set. Glenn is a character that was created just to make Jared Keeso laugh. The voice he does, the character he portrays on this show, he did it before the show existed just to kind of crack him up. And then they're like, all right, well, we're going to make a show to this, so Glenn's got to be in it. So there you go. Tyson and Joint Boy were introduced in season 1 as two of the tough guys. They end up becoming regular characters. I find Tyson to be absolutely hilarious. And they're good straight men. Tyson and Joint Boy are great straight men in a scene where everything's completely crazy, and they both kind of have a look of, what in the world is going on here? What are you guys they are the normal people in the room, and yet the way they're introduced, you wouldn't think they would be. Bonnie McMurray's, I think, somewhat evolved. I think they've gone just from, okay, she's eye candy and everybody gawks at her, to she has some more depth to her. Not a lot, but she does have some more depth to her, and you get the feeling that in upcoming seasons, hopefully, they explore that and she becomes a more well-rounded character. Gail is just made of funny. The best thing is that when they talk about how they casted Gail, that wasn't the actress, that wasn't the picture they had for Gail at all. And she came in and read for the role, and they're like, and you're Gail. There was no doubt in their mind, none. That was it. And she'd never played a role like that before, but just the fact she's constantly gyrating is some of the funniest television you'll ever see. The coach is genuinely funny. I'm pretty sure the coach didn't show up at all this year. And so I'm not sure why Mark Forward wouldn't have been in it this year, but this is where you rotate people in and out. Dax and Ron, they're there for they're the gay hockey player version. So they're just there to say all the offensive stuff that the hockey players would normally say, but from the other point of view, right? and I do find them funny in small doses. In the Valentine's Day episode, them and Roald, it was really, really funny. So I did get a kick out of that. There's the character Gay, who may very well have been called Gay because Roald's gay. Roald has a crush on Stuart. And so Stuart having a girlfriend named Gay led to a lot of wordplay that's very Abbott and Costello. I think she's a fantastic actress. I think there's a lot more there. I'm really surprised they haven't used her in the show more, to be honest. She has one season where she's in basically the whole season, and then she's just in little bits and parts in other seasons. I'm really surprised that they haven't found a way to put her in the show more. But then again, like I said, other actors and actresses get busy with other things. They may not be able to show up for filming, so maybe that's what it is with her. But she's fantastic. This show is one of those shows where I will follow these actors and actresses after they're off these shows. I've done that with Twin Peaks. I've done that with certain cases with Supernatural. Certain shows where I'll go, oh, that person was in that show. I have to watch that now. Walking Dead had that going for it as well for a long time. The McMurrays are a punchline, and yet you don't want to tell them they're a punchline because I'm terrified of Mrs. McMurray. I genuinely am. The genuine terror. I find though that she plays the role so well. Melanie is so excellent at playing the role. She can be completely different people from one show to the next, and that's a real statement for how strong an actor somebody is. I was watching They Call Me Dolomite. I watched the first half an hour of that. I'll watch the rest of it at some point soon, with Eddie Murphy. And Eddie Murphy was a guy that I always felt like was just Eddie Murphy. Any movie you saw him in, he was still Eddie Murphy. Might be putting on an accent, might be playing a little bit of that, but he's still Eddie Murphy. Dolomite's the first movie I've seen him in where I've gone, he feels like somebody else. This doesn't feel like he's Eddie Murphy. And I think that's a measure of a good actor, is somebody who, in different episodes, in different shows, they're different. Orphan Black, one of the greatest shows I've ever watched. No matter how many different roles Tatiana Maslany plays, she feels like a different person as each character. And that is a testament to just how good she is at her craft. I think she could end up being the best actress of her generation. I remember when Star Wars was casting for the new trilogy, the character that became Rey, a lot of people, myself included, were like, this would be perfect for Tatiana Maslany. I'm actually glad she didn't get it, because it wouldn't have tested her range. It really wouldn't have tested her range. And for the McMurrays, for Mrs. McMurray, her range is fantastic. Angie, I was disappointed Angie wasn't in the show more. She's the girl that broke Wayne's heart. She becomes a Puck Bunny in season 2. I think she's the Puck Bunny in that one. And, she's a character that they never really got into other than she's a Puck Bunny. She wanted Wayne back. It wasn't going to happen. And then Katie gave her a swift kick to let her know what for. And one thing I do like in the show is that Katie and Wayne, it feels like they're brother and sister, and they defend each other. No problem. Somebody broke your heart, I'll go kick them right in the crotch. Everybody needs a family member that does that, right? I'll go kick that person in the crotch for you. I'll be right back. Rosie, I do like Rosie. She, of the girlfriends that Wayne's had in the show, she's my favorite. I hope they keep them together. I would like to see them kept together. And they need to get engaged. Marie Frederick got engaged to Wayne, and it just felt kind of tacked on. I'm like, why are they getting married? So, I don't get that one. And Dickens, you wouldn't think that somebody who's this tall, awkward guy who's an auctioneer would become one of the funniest bit characters on the show. But if he's in a scene, I'm guaranteed to laugh at it. Usually at his expense, but that's what the character's there for. So, yeah, Dickens. And nobody who watches the show refers to him as Dickens, and I don't when I'm not filming myself either. That's not what I call him. Nope, I call him what everybody else in the show calls him, and it's funny. So, yeah, these are pretty funny side characters. And then you've got Tanis, who I've got dashes next to because I think she's fantastic. Superstardom written all over. The actress that plays Tanis and just the character herself is fantastic. And Marie Frederick, who I didn't like on the show. When she showed up at the end of season 8, I actually liked how they did that. I thought, okay, they're writing her out. And they did it in a way that was nice. And I liked what Rosie did there too. So if you haven't seen it yet, go watch. What Rosie did there was nice. Because if there's a sorry, he's mine now. If there's that moment, they had that, and I thought that was really, really well done. I thought that is so well done what they did right there. And then Boomtown, Fiske, Schultze, Yorkie. Love all four of them. Absolutely, the hockey players, the way that they talk in a row and they always throw to one another is fantastic. And it always ends with Boomtown, and Boomtown's always got some sad story to tell. And he is a great character. I would love to see a show just based on the four of them. I would love to see a show based on the four of them. I don't know how long you could take that, but it would work. I'm actually surprised that there hasn't been any kind of spin-off as of yet. You could do it. You could do a spin-off of Letterkenny and make it work. And of course, Betty Ann and Marianne I put down here with the hockey players because Betty Ann and Marianne, when they're coaching the women's team, absolutely fantastic. And of course, the fact that team's name is the Shamrockettes instead of Shamrocks, and that they go, what, Shamrockettes because we're women, because we're ladies, and it was just so funny. A lot of really good stuff here. So there you go. Kind of looking at the overview of the entire show of Letterkenny. I figured now might be a good time to do that. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section below, and if you're not watching it, you probably should be. It's available on Hulu in the States, and of course it's on Crave TV in Canada. So there you go. Let me know your thoughts. Hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, for your time and your attention. It's appreciated. I will talk to you again soon.